Myanmar has made remarkable economic progress in recent years after many years of stagnation. The ongoing democratization and liberalization of the country has brought with it increased growth, trade and investment, with a real GDP growth of 7.2% per annum for the 5 years leading to 2017. Myanmar is now one of the fastest growing economies in Southeast Asia. The population living under the national poverty line has halved in the period between 2005 and 2017. There are, however, still challenges. Poverty remains high, especially in rural areas. According to the 2017 Myanmar Living Conditions Survey, 24.8% of the population is in poverty, and a further third of the population is highly vulnerable to falling into poverty. Nationally inclusive growth and job creation therefore remain major priorities. An inclusive national financial system can act as a catalyst for the creation of jobs and socially responsible economic growth. Wider access to financial services among households and small businesses can help to promote trade and investment, productivity and resilience, especially in agricultural communities, and general well-being across households. Myanmar first began assessing financial inclusion nationally in 2013, with the introduction of the Making Access Possible, or MAP, diagnostic, which focused on measuring the supply and demand of all financial services, using a combination of household survey methodology, review of relevant documentation, and stakeholder consultations. The diagnostic established that only 30% of adults had access to formal financial services, and only 6% used more than one formal product category. With an aim to broaden formal financial service access, a national strategy, or roadmap, was developed with the aim to raise the access levels to 40% of adults, while increasing the proportion of those using more than one financial product to 15% by 2020. The government, through the Ministry of Planning, Finance and Industry in coordination with the Central Bank of Myanmar and supported by UNCDF Myanmar, thereafter mobilised government institutions, development partners and the private sector to work together to implement the roadmap strategy and to strengthen the financial inclusion across Myanmar. With the passage of time, policy reforms, the expansion of bank and microfinance branches, offshore capital infusions, and the emergence of digital financial services converged to signal that Myanmar's financial sector was undergoing significant reform. In response, the stakeholders with technical and funding support from the Dinar Facility, UK Aid and UNCDF jointly embarked on a follow-on MAP assessment in 2018. To determine the extent of progress attained under the first Financial Inclusion Roadmap. The assessment included surveying 5,500 households and an analysis of the regulation and supply of financial services. The findings were remarkable. The 2020 roadmap goals had not only been achieved, but exceeded. By 2018, over 16 million adults, or 48% of the population, had access to formal financial services. Adults with access to more than one product had also escalated to 17%. Expanded access to formal financial services had supported households to safeguard their income, efficiently transfer funds, strengthen cash management, and more proactively respond to risks. Nationally, inclusive finance has also played a role to stimulate economic growth through increased access to affordable capital that enables small business expansion and job growth. Farmers also benefit through services that enable and expand production processes. But despite the progress, many of Myanmar's rural, remote and vulnerable populations still remain excluded from the formal financial system, and much effort is needed to ensure they are included going forward. Informal or unregulated financial services continue to be widely prevalent, although dependence on them has decreased by almost 1/3 since 2013. Moneylenders, savings groups, and Hundi money transfer services are the most widely used informal mechanisms. Savings held in informal forms, such as cash, gold, livestock, and Sujie informal savings groups, continue to prevail, and more attention is needed to build a formal savings culture. In light of this changing financial inclusion landscape, Myanmar's roadmap vision has been updated to raise ambitions for even greater outreach and service quality. The Myanmar Financial Inclusion Roadmap 2019 to 2023 now seeks to have 60% of adults formally served with at least one financial product by 2023, and 1/4 of adults using more than one financial product in an affordable and effective manner. Based on findings from the supply side and demand side analysis and stakeholder priorities, 5 key pillars have been identified as being central to the achievement of the roadmap goals. These focus on extending existing and new financial services to Myanmar's low-income earners, including women, extending services to small and medium enterprises and farmers, savings mobilization, digitalization of financial services, and consumer empowerment. With these broad areas in mind, 5 working groups have been established under the Financial Inclusion Interministerial Steering Committee to address the constraints identified in each of the respective areas. Initiatives advancing savings mobilization, credit access especially for farmers and small businesses, digital payments, insurance services, financial and digital education, and consumer protection will all be prioritised in harmony with the Myanmar Sustainable Development Plan, or MSDP. The key feature of the MSDP is financial sector strengthening and expanded financial access, well in line with the updated Financial Inclusion Roadmap vision. The high prevalence of smartphones and rapid growth of mobile money use presents significant opportunity to deliver financial services at a lower cost to more people all over the country. Digital financial services, such as electronic-based savings and digitally delivered credit and insurance services, will thus be leveraged to reach unbanked and underbanked sectors more effectively with lower costs. Financial and digital literacy initiatives will also be expanded to help vulnerable populations better educate themselves on how to leverage formal financial services, to protect themselves from adverse risks, and to better plan for their futures. Institutional changes, such as state-owned bank reforms, microfinance and insurance sector liberalisation, and an increasing local and regional financial services convergence will also be prioritised to drive financial inclusion advancement towards the 2023 roadmap targets. Achieving the roadmap's vision of expanding and deepening financial services to a grassroots level will occur only with the collaboration of both the public and private sectors to maintain the momentum and progress achieved in years past. With this cooperation and commitment, Myanmar is able to advance step by step into a future where everyone can responsibly and actively use financial services.